Well, this is a book about the life of the submarine Courageous from the day it was built until it was finally paid off. And I'm looking at the moment at a picture just after we had got back alongside after a 93-day patrol in the South Atlantic at the time of the Falklands War. We were the last down there and the last back. And I see there's a thing where I say...
I joined the Navy from school, went to Dartmouth in 1961 and had 28 years or thereabouts in the Navy, mostly in submarines, certainly after the first 4 or 5 years. I was captain of a diesel boat and then a nuclear submarine, and then spent the last 5 or 6 years in office and staff jobs, and also commanding a shore establishment, which was submarine related. All my family and I include 4 of my uncles and aunts out of a family of 6, were born here, and we've all loved it. We just like coming here and just like living here, and we're extremely lucky. It's a lovely countryside. It's very varied. It's not, in conventional agricultural terms, it's hard work because it's all vertical slopes, but the soil is fantastic. I think it was Arthur Streeter in the 30s who talked about the soil between Bridport and Bedminster as being the best in the country, and so things do grow. Our orchards, like any other farmhouse in Dorset, would have had cider apple orchards for a long time, because that was partly the way in which the labourers, particularly the harvest labourers, were paid. When my father, who'd also been in the Navy, came down here and took over the farm, and he planted up some bush orchards which were under contract to Taunton Cider Company. So it was a business that was operating when I took it over, really. And what I've done is to take advantage of additional schemes and planting schemes and so on, and planted up stuff myself, and have added another 30 odd acres to the 20 we had before. My main customers are the bigger companies. About 50% goes to the Shepton Cider Mill, and then most of the others goes to people like Thatcher's and Sheppey's, and I send some specialist apples to Julian Temperley at Burrow Hill, who, besides making cider, also makes cider brandy and cider aperitif, and so for which he uses a particular variety called Kingston Black. And I've planted up about 3 or 5 acres of Kingston Black.
They are a curious apple in a way, because they've got very short stalk. They're almost virtually no stalk at all, and they probably can see it if we look. And here's 3 together. I think they're almost unique among the apples that we have to be like that. But they produce a good cider, and that at the end of the day is what we're keen to promote. They do suffer from canker, and you can see that there's some canker here, which is spread up to this point here, and from there onwards the branch is dead. It just has to be cut out and burned, but we have to accept it really as one of the penalties for the 50% increase in price we get for these apples. Other trees have it as well, but it seems to be particularly prevalent in Kingston Blacks. They're difficult to grow. They're like sheep. They've got all sorts of ways of dying. But there is a premium to be paid for them, and it's nice being associated with that particular side of the industry anyway. So as long as we go on producing reliable and good quality apples, I think that there will always be a market for them. If one's asking about thinking of looking to the future, the methods of growing apples are under consideration. John Thatcher, in particular, of Thatcher's, has always been an innovator and has always encouraged innovation. Is working on a scheme at the moment which has trees that are attached to trellises, rather like grapes in a vineyard. Now, you can only do that really if you've got reasonably flat land, in my view. And our position here is that we don't have much flat land. So I think that it'll be very interesting to see what the Thatcher experiment, where it leads us. But as far as my orchard is concerned, I'm confident that my son, or whoever takes over from me, will have broadly the same system as we have now. I'm very lucky. We live in this marvellous part of the county, and I'm very fortunate because we have just under 200 acres of it, and that is just pure pleasure.